ain't afraid to shout. Make America great, tell them what it's about. Facts over feelings, cutting through the noise. Fighting woke mobs and the kids with toys. They spew their lies, they spreading hate. Lips BS ain't gonna seal our fate. No nonsense here, just straight to the point. Truth to ammo in this battleground joint. Make America great again, stand and fight. Facts over feelings, day and night.
Hey, it's To The Point with Mike, Leo, and Vince.
Hey,
Vince, Mike,
episode
what's up, guys?
124.
Mike,
on,
what's
guys?
up? Episode 124, is that correct, Mike? Is that what you just said?
Yeah. And all of a sudden, like
Look at
2
that.
out of 3 of us all have like a frog in our throat.
That is crazy. Episode 124, man.
Yeah,
Wait,
we've been doing
but
this
a
for
lot.
a little while.
A lot, though. We have a lot to talk
Yeah.
about, though. There's a lot
This
going
week,
on in
yeah,
the world.
man,
for
it's
sure.
a lot of bad news out there, and a
Yeah.
lot of upsetting news. You've got the debacle with the Epstein saga. There's flooding in New Mexico. There's the horrible tragedy in Texas. We can get into all those.
I feel like
we're back to sending weapons to
Yeah,
Ukraine.
for sure.
What else is it? There's news, and I'll tell you where you can find that news is the IRC Media's X page, which you can find at IR Connections or IRC Media, and we kind of post headlines throughout the day, and usually it's one of the topics one of our shows will be talking about, right, Leo? And then
That's correct.
there's a handful of shows now, I think, involved. There's 5 or 6 in one way or another involved with IRC Media, which is like the new kind of media arm of Indian River Connections. And so you can find the content we create at IRC Media. And then if you're interested in marketing opportunities or consultations for whatever it be, online presence or nonprofit administration, we do consultations on that also.
For sure.
That's Indian River Connections, and you can get that information at indianriverconnections.com or give one of us a call. So, and of
if
course,
we-
find all our media everywhere you
Yeah.
subscribe to your podcasts and video and whatnot.
Perfect.
Right, Leo?
Yeah, for sure. And if we don't have the answer that you're like looking for, we could always direct you to the right path of to that right answer. That
Yeah,
You're
looking
looking
too,
for.
because we
people
do,
that we know,
do a
we can refer you
local
people. Absolutely.
a local community page for
Yeah, for
Indian
sure.
River County, but which is a separate group, which we can highlight small businesses that way. And we do small businesses we can do anywhere in the country, but check out our media at IRC Media, IndianRiverConnections.com, Facebook. We don't really post the truth, but I think we might have to start investing a little bit in truth. I'm not sure.
Yeah, for sure.
You guys have a Truth Social?
No,
I have one, yeah, but I don't really
I
get
don't know
on
what
it.
that is. What is that?
It's like a Facebook.
Another one? Hey,
It's
man,
Trump's.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
owned by
the-
Trump.
Yeah,
like
Trump-
whatever happened
Trump
to
media.
MySpace. You guys remember the MySpace?
Man, don't you wish it would go back to MySpace where you
I
can
wish it would have
change the background and your music
Oh,
and
man,
stuff like that?
I'd get home from school and all my friends would be changed immediately. Like, who were your friends? I'll tell you who my friends are.
Funny you bring that up because I think about
I feel
how popular podcasts now are and
Right.
what they would be like with MySpace around. It'd be like everybody could have their own podcast right on their homepage,
for
you
sure.
know, and I think MySpace probably, I think it was a
And-
psyop,
and
first
Mike,
of all.
they
It was
could
a
be-
psyop just like Facebook, and it did its deal.
What
and-
was his name?
We
Tom?
wouldn't be
Is that
on
what his
video
name is?
right now.
Tom-
They'd people be
something.
listening to us on their iPods.
Yeah. Well, you never know. Yeah. So anyways,
No, but I brought this up because I was thinking about like like Instagram and Facebook and all these other platforms. Is this what's going to happen to them at some point? Are they gonna just like
fade away.
Fade
Well,
away?
I don't know, man,
Like-
because Facebook's been around since what, 2008,
okay,
and Instagram was kind of thereafter.
right?
Somewhere something's gonna probably fade away. I mean, not all of them, but I wouldn't be surprised if one of them fades away down the road.
I mean, I'm surprised Truth is still around. They tried this same thing with Parler, but Parler relied heavily on Amazon's cloud services. So during that whole shut conservatives down. Parler was a victim of that, but it was their leadership was rhinos, to say the least. They were false heroes. So, and Twitter, or X, you kind of had some hope for X, but then again,
Right.
I kind of feel it's funny because I always saw Elon Musk go out there and get crazy, and you hear about shareholders get upset when he does this or that. It's like whatever. But now, kind of like being not invested in X, but a lot of our time and energy goes into X, and it's like seeing this is a little disappointing. The behavior over the last couple of weeks, maybe it's called for. But then again, I mean, he's out. That was should be one of our topics is this American Party. What do you think about that, Vince? Are you going to jump on board to the American Party
No,
that's created by a South African?
no, and I think anybody would realize it's just like an independent party, because I mean that's what it is. It's got no chance. No independent has ever had a chance, and it's just this one will have a little more momentum just because you got Elon, and I'm sure you'll have some other billionaires that'll join in. But I mean,
Yeah, and that's
it's a
what's sad
two-party
about it.
system.
I saw
That's what it is.
I saw
Right.
a YouTube broadcast. I wish I could remember the name. It was actually an older lady, and they do a news podcast, and she spelled it out pretty good. I wish I'd have saved it, but she's like, it's anything but the American Party. If you look at the principles and what he actually stands for, it's more of like the Austrian political party, where there's like socialism still intertwined, and
Right.
companies like his would be in favor of the government because some
Right.
say that's part of what his problem is in this big beautiful bill.
He didn't get
what his mandates were
Right.
supposed to be, and maybe it hurt. I felt like he had to do that, but then again, they always take it a step too far, in my opinion.
right.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm kind of over this bullshit with him, and it's like, just go back to doing your thing, man, with your X and your rockets.
And here's the thing: the bill got passed.
I'm not a fan of the bill either.
No, but if you did it the way Elon wanted to, it had no chance of passing.
Right, and that's the problem. Like, Trump has only got 3 years to get some shit done.
Right.
And the only way to get anything passed is to play ball. And unfortunately,
That's what politics is all about, playing ball.
yeah. And I kind of explained it to my father earlier today. Like, I can kind of see the 4D chess and all this. It's just, as a human living in this, I'm kind of sick of being caught in between 2 different psyops or 10 different psyops, whether
Right.
it's, Epstein files this or MLK this and JFK that. And, they're all bullshit.
You just want to cut the bullshit and
Right.
get to the point.
And
That's what we're here for.
To get to the point.
right. So
Hey.
I think one of the
Hey.
biggest stories right now in the news is the Epstein files. So
For sure.
9:00 or something like that on a Sunday night, the DOJ releases documentation stating that it's officially closing the case. There is no client list.
No list.
Epstein killed himself. Just go about your business, and just trust me, bro, as Benny Johnson would say it.
I know.
But go
My
ahead,
thing,
Leo.
my thing is, they're just here again. We're just wasting money. Okay, the guy's dead. Let's just come out, say exactly what happened, when it happened, and done. I don't want this. All this other misinformation, all this other stuff. It's just useless for me. Literally, it's useless. What is it good for me? Oh, this person said this, that person said that, and
Well, it's not
this
about
file-
who said this or who said
this
that.
file came
It's
out.
who holds power right now that's been taking advantage of underage women when
Right.
they would be in the
Right.
company.
Because this is still going on.
Right, but they just need somebody knows something, and
There's
somebody.
victims, so you
Yeah.
can't tell me there's no perpetrators
Right.
if you have victims.
Right,
And we've heard about the victims, and you can't tell me Jeffrey Epstein's the only perpetrator.
right.
I mean, and the way I look at it is, you left me with no other option other than to look at the flight logs and say they're all guilty,
Right.
even though they might have just caught a flight, just like the Diddy files.
Yeah.
You know, at
That's
first it's
another
like
one,
just
too.
because you
It's
went
just-
to a party doesn't mean you were a freak drinking
Right.
adrenochrome.
No,
but
sure.
but now you leave me with no option to think, oh wait a minute,
But you could be.
I don't fucking trust you.
Right.
You know, like, so why not? Why, like, you're probably lying to me about that too. So I really think it's funny. I have multiple personalities when it comes to the Trump administration and what they're doing, but I find it funny they do this on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
Usually, like, here's the circumstances. They did it on a Sunday night. It's at the beginning of a week. I don't care how you look at it.
Yeah.
Sunday night, Sunday, it's going to lead the news cycle all week. And they released it to Axios, which is some like B lineup media outlet, and they're no friend of the Trump administration at all. So it's kind of weird why did they release it to Axios, and why did they do it on a Sunday night? And then it gets worse. And then Trump shut down questioning about it. It's like, come on, man, you ran on this, like, you got us fired up because we wanted accountability.
Yeah.
Because we know there's people in Washington or in Brussels and other parts of the world like Tel Aviv who were frequent customers of this Epstein character, who we now know is definitely an intel asset. It's just a matter of whose.
Right.
You know, whose asset was he? Thanks, Troll, for coming back. We do miss you, man. We look forward to you in the comment sections. We're glad you're here, and I'm not sure what this is. Hey, you stream really well. I'll love to become your dedicated fan and support you. Mind adding me on Discord? I don't really play around on Discord, but we appreciate you. Over on Twitch, we have a few viewers on Twitch and Kick also. Here is some of the influencers who I don't think these ones were kind of duped, but I've said from the get-go, since the binder fiasco where they had the influencers come to the White House. Remember we did a show on this?
Yeah.
And
Holding
there
up
was
a
nothing new in the freaking binder.
holding a blank binder.
Nothing new in the binder. And it was all Pam Bondi's doing. And she made every one of those independent influencers or independent media providers like us look like complete fools. And that was Pam Bondi's doing, I think. I don't know. I don't know if she's that smart or if she did this at somebody's direction and she just thought it was a good idea. But here is, actually, I snagged this from Benny Johnson. But this is Megyn Kelly and PBD. Let me find it here.
Look at the influencer thing, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of an attorney general? Just take a step back. What kind of an attorney general would pretend she's giving new information to some of the president's most loyal advocates in the press? You know, buying ink by the barrel. So either Pam Bondi knew she was about to embarrass some of his most loyal surrogates out there and did that willingly, or she didn't
Remember that?
Yeah.
take the time to make sure
DC Draino.
what was in those binders. She was too lazy to actually figure out none of this is new. And yet she called a meeting with the influencers that included Kash Patel, the head of the FBI, and the sitting vice president. So she's either lazy and incompetent, or she willingly humiliated some of the president's most loyal supporters. Neither one of those is good, and that's why I'm sorry, but I'm going to predict her days are numbered as a member of the Trump administration.
So too, actually. So let's just assess this logically.
This is interesting. Right?
The DOJ, the current DOJ under Pam Bondi is covering up.
So now, hold on, let me stop Tucker for a minute. So either there's people, now here's the assumptions you can make, considering what they've done. Either there's somebody close to Trump on this list, or we got the list, or they have the list, I should say, and they're in control of it now. So, and either using it, or they're running a psyop saying it doesn't exist. So you'll see big names come back. Because if you noticed, a lot of people left in the last year or two when it was obvious that Trump and Trump's administration were going to go for the throat. So, I mean, I don't know if they would be A-list celebrities C-list celebrities like Rosie O'Donnell or Ellen DeGeneres, because remember, they left, they fled. And a lot of other celebrities and people in power fled the states
Right.
before Trump even got elected because they knew they weren't going to be able to cheat on this one. So I don't know. Is there a psyop on top of the psyop? I don't know. Let's see what Tucker says.
Crimes, very serious crimes by their own description. Why are they doing that?
Yeah.
So there are really only two potential explanations that I can think of. Maybe you've got another. The first is that Trump is involved, that, Trump is on the list, that they've got tape of Trump doing something awful.
We know that's not true.
I don't believe that for two reasons. One, I've talked to Trump about it a lot. And I know him. He's not that, for whatever his sins. I don't think he's that guy, actually. I don't think he likes creepy sex stuff. That's just my view. But more, I think, convincing is that this is all information that the Biden administration had. And if there was evidence that Trump had been involved in illegal sexual activity, you think the people who made up Russiagate wouldn't have leaked it?
Right.
Come on now. So the only other explanation that I can think of, again, maybe you've got another, is that intel services are at the very center of this story, U.S. and Israeli, and they're being protected. I think that seems like the most plausible.
That's the most obvious. If you have a history.
There is a reason why people are asking about this. This is by far, and I'm a supporter. 3 times I voted for this man. This is by far the biggest fumble of the administration they've had thus far. And here's the reason why. If you remember the president winning, he had a conversation with Fox News, the great Rachel Campos Duffy, and she asked, Mr. President, 9/11, yes. John F. Kennedy, yes. Epstein, he didn't say yes. He was a little bit hesitant of bringing that information out. Why? So why does his leadership team go out there and are like, we have this information and we're going to release this and cash? And let me tell you what we have with Pam Bondi out of the state of Florida. She knew everything about Bondi, about Epstein. Why are you fumbling this? Why are you?
Yeah, they told us they had this stuff.
Right.
Now all of a sudden you don't have this stuff. And some say, oh, you took Pam Bondi for her word on a Fox interview. She said it. I'm sorry. You're Attorney General of the United States. You were Attorney General of Florida. One of the most popular, one of the most high profile Attorney Generals in the nation. And I'll tell you why.
Why?
DEI. Yeah. Pam Bondi was a DEI hire in Florida. You would know her name today if it wasn't for the team she had in Florida. Because it's not just one person. She was just a good-looking blonde woman who can talk, who can act like she knew what she was talking about. And if you, in the next clip, you'll see, obviously, she's a showpiece. And I hate to be that way. I'm not sexist. I'm not chauvinistic. I'm not any of that. Maybe a little racist, but not really. But, I think it's time for Pam Bondi to step aside. But here is the worst part about this whole debacle, and it was, I believe this was yesterday, during Trump's third or second cabinet meeting. Nice brows. I don't know. He must be talking about yours, Leo.
It left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for a American or foreign intelligence agency. The former labor secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Acosta, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of the stabbing?
Yeah, sure. If I
Pam,
could,
could I just interrupt for
Sure.
1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking.
Now remember, he ran on this. He ran on it. And if it weren't for Trump, we wouldn't know Jeffrey Epstein's name today. One reason being because it was Trump who kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago for hitting on young girls, young daughters of Trump's guests at Mar-a-Lago. So he was fucking with Trump's money. So Trump kicked him out, had him trespassed. And then when there was charges brought up on him or he was under investigation, Trump was the first one to offer whatever. And, so if it weren't for Trump, Jeffrey Epstein may still be alive today doing what he does over on St. James Island or Little St. James Island. So, and then this is the shocking part with it. As much as he ran on this is how Trump handles this.
We have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this, where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Could it be like the one
First,
comment
to back
though,
up
Mike,
on that,
where, you know, maybe they're just trying to pretend like they don't have anything or they're not worried about this anymore because they are trying to get
Well, here's
some of the
point.
people on the list come back to the country.
Even if that's the case,
I mean, it's still,
they
yeah, it
suck
doesn't
at
look,
it. They
yeah,
suck
it
at
doesn't
this.
look good.
And I feel like that's what they may be trying to do. They may be trying to play their hand. They
Right.
may be playing Texas Hold'em or 5D
Like
chess,
right there, maybe,
but it's like, you're suck at this, man.
right.
Like, come
Maybe
on, man,
right
you
there,
should've
they're
just stopped.
saying to themselves, okay, well, Trump doesn't even care about the Epstein shit no more. So maybe I'm good to come back.
I'll tell you how I look at it. I look at it as Trump doesn't care about what's going on in Texas, that he's still talking about this stuff. So then they'll turn it around and be like, oh, look, he doesn't care what's going on in Texas. All he wants to talk about is Epstein this, and he totally forgot about the people that need the help.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that's how I see it, because it's
Yeah,
like,
they'll defer blame. For
they're mind fuck with you.
because they've already
Excuse my
tried.
language.
They've already done that.
Yeah, for
They've
sure.
blamed,
That's
they
exactly.
blamed the Doge cuts on the flood.
And they know how to get to
Or
those
flood on the
emotions
Doge
for
cut.
those people that need that stuff to go out there and retaliate and say, this is why this happened, because of this man, you know. But then again, you don't want to call him a hero, you don't want to call him this, you don't want to call him that, but yet this happened because of him.
Right.
Come on, man, make up your mind.
I just think it's politics.
It is. At the
and
end
that's
of the
what's
day, that's what
disappointing.
they on the other side
I think
is what makes it
and
politics.
I think that Trump is playing politics right now. And I do trust his judgment. It's just, for me, in my opinion, Bondi and Patel, they got to go. And I'll tell you why in just a minute. But let's finish. Let's let Bondi
Bondi's
explain
the one
her
in the
way.
blue, guys.
Yes,
So you
she's
guys
a very
know who
good
she
looking
is,
woman
right?
for her 60s, by the way. And this is what they're explaining, because they released the footage of Jeffrey Epstein's cell, right? But it's missing like a minute or an hour. And this is...
in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I said, I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that. Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. Child porn is what they were. Never going to be released, never going to see the light of day. To him being an agent, I have no...
Such a politician right there.
For sure.
That speech is not that of an attorney general or a police officer, you know, law enforcement. You know, she is #2 law enforcement officer in the country. And it's pretty scary that we're trusting on her to review some of this stuff and release it.
No knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that. And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night.
Yeah, so she's explaining why there's missing a minute. So this video, she's saying it's from 1999, the system. So every night it refreshes and it loses a minute. It's like,
exactly at that particular spot.
Like, I mean, you've already told us that.
Sorry, Pet Bondi or whatever.
Patel and Bongino was on Fox News and other stations saying, you know, they're going to release the video, they're going to enhance it so you can see it better, adjust the contrast, this, do that, do this, and they're going to enhance it, but they'll release the original also for you to look at, and then you get it and it's missing a minute or whatever it's missing. If it's missing anything, it's like, we think I'm a fucking idiot. Like, I can't believe they're missing out. Like, they're fumbling all of this. Like, just, I don't get it. Troll, I'm interested to know what you think, Troll, about why they released these files or why they released this to Axios on a Sunday night and
Mike,
let this dominate.
You know what I
the
got
news
from
all
all
week.
this? Is she really 60?
She might be older than that.
Fuck, man.
Yeah, she's not bad.
No, I would have never guessed it.
then
I would have
again,
figured in her
I'm
40s.
telling you, she wouldn't be where she was unless she had a team, the
Right.
team she had in Florida, because you wouldn't even know her name. Yeah, LOL. Yeah, like I wanted. Vince wants. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Hey, I'll take that 60-year-old.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. So, and Trump's right. There's a lot of devastation. There's a lot of stuff going on. And Leo, you're right. If he focused on the Epstein thing, if he took questions like that or let this go on, they're going to say, oh, he's deflecting from his lack of competence in Texas.
Oh yeah,
Which the shit, Texas, man. Have you kept up on that at all?
I have not, just
really
because
tragic.
it's just tragic and it's sad.
I try not to look at
And
it
it's
too
just
much
like,
because it is. It's depressing, but
Sad.
I know there was the
Very
one,
sad.
the
Very,
one that
very
we were
sad.
talking about where the what was it, 20-something young girls from a camp, and like you said, like it was ended up being like another 20 counselors.
Yeah,
all,
the numbers were horrible.
It's crazy.
Like
all
it's so
dead.
sad. I started reading it and it was like, I couldn't. I just didn't want to, and it was because I've got 3 kids, and
Just imagine that.
I want to
happening.
let the kids do things like this, like
Right.
summer
Right.
camp and stuff like that. And my son did just go do a summer camp, long ways away from home, and up in the mountains, and shit could have happened.
Yeah,
Shit did happen actually on their trip, and it was nothing at the likes of the Texas flooding, but it did make the news. And I mean, I'll play that, and then we can get into more on Texas.
With train passengers who say they were stranded on an Amtrak.
First of all, I'm not like traveling by train. I think I would rather not, unless it was part of the trip. Like, hold on, let's get Trump's troll's opinion here. I think it's an intel op with foreign countries and the CIA, and they can't admit it because that would mean the government was blackmailing people. I think Trump fixed minors because he used to fly with Trump to New York, to Florida, and 3 minors claimed. Yeah, I don't believe Trump. I really don't want to believe Trump had anything to do with it. If he did, I do want to see the evidence, just like I'd want to see the evidence.
Right.
Yeah, I gotcha. I would want to see the evidence if it was anybody. I do think you're right. I do believe Epstein was an intel asset. Whose asset was he? Was he multiple agencies' assets? And how can you tell the difference between CIA and Mossad? Anyways, I said that live on air. If I'm not suicidal at all. So, yeah. So back to Amtrak. Like, have you been on an Amtrak?
No, I've never.
No.
Been.
If by the way, if you have more comment on that, we can come back to that. But I want to for this story because this was an organization my son was with, that thankfully they give them their cell phones during transportation.
Right.
But when they're at camp, they confiscate the phones because it's not about the devices and stuff like that, which back in the day, I went to camp. We didn't have cell phones. It'd be 2 weeks before I talked to my parents again, and you think about the way the world is nowadays. I was actually anxious for my 2 older kids to get their phones.
Yeah.
They're not even in their teens.
You'd think they'd
Yeah,
let
it was
you
just-
let them call you at night at least or something, like once a day.
I mean, when you're trying to build character and teach the children, sometimes that could be worse.
Right.
But I get it. But still, man, like if something happened.
Yeah.
So my son was on this train, and it was a little concerning because obviously we're waiting for the train to come, and we find out there's problems
So
with
let's
the
see.
train.
Show them the video.
Yeah,
Mike.
okay, so here, but
Show them the video.
I want to set the pretense. We didn't know any of this at the time.
Train in Nassau County for hours without electricity, with temperatures reportedly reaching up to 95 degrees, and we are told hundreds were on board. Action News Jack's Nicholas Brooks joins us now from the Jacksonville Amtrak station. Nicholas, you spoke to passengers on the train, and the sheriff's office says multiple people were hospitalized after being stuck on that train for hours.
And the sheriff's office says they were treated for heat exhaustion. And a passenger told me that he saw many people being treated. And he said that all were stuck on the train since 10:30 this morning. And he said inside the train that the temperature reached to 95 degrees, forcing many people on the train to get off the train.
After, 4 or 5 hours, we said, we're getting off.
What you're seeing is a crowd of Amtrak passengers north of Hilliard in Nassau County seeking help from law enforcement and Nassau County Fire Rescue after their train came to a complete stop. One passenger who said that it was over 200 to 300 passengers on that train, and he said that he had to get off because inside of the train there was no electricity, no AC, and he said that the temperature rose up to 95 degrees.
The train is extremely hot. There's no power. None of the toilets work. So it's becoming very uncomfortable inside, and it's probably 95 plus degrees. And the Nassau County Sheriffs did a wellness check on everyone, and I said, can we get off? And they said, you can get off, and we'll escort you off. It's just you can't get back on. It's your own decision. So we said, get us off.
Brockett says he saw many people being treated because of the conditions inside the train.
I was concerned about people with high blood pressure and all that. That's why they were in there struggling, making sure people had their medication. They were trying to get them cooled off, bringing them water.
Amtrak's Floridian train number 41 began its journey in Chicago, bound for Miami, but it broke down en route. We asked Brockett what was the explanation passengers were given.
We were told that it was an engineer had been over his allotment of hours, and they were going to be bringing in another engineer very quickly, and we'd be back on the way in no time. That never happened.
Mike?
Brockett said they were supposed to arrive at their destination by 6:30 a.m. Sunday, but they have been stranded since 10.
Yeah. So
That makes no sense.
like we knew the train had broke down probably about an hour after it broke down. It was already delayed because Amtrak is always delayed by like 4 or 5 hours. And it's almost like as soon as it crossed over the Florida-Georgia line, done. Like it just shut down. Right. And we were told it lost power. And there was, they were going to send a rescue locomotive to come tow the train back to Jacksonville with all the people on it, where they would then catch buses to their destination. And hours later, I mean, like hours later, there's still no locomotive. They're still not on a bus yet.
Wow.
It was pretty disappointing. And come to find out, we get this after the fact. What I'm a little torn in this though, because, we teach our kids not to hold secrets from us and to tell us when an adult expects them to keep a secret from us, right?
Right.
But at some point, when you trust other adults to manage a situation, to manage your children for a week or 2 weeks, I do know you have to afford them some type of trust, some level of trust. But it is disheartening. Like I look at this incident for us, and the only reason why we were up on it is because the train was delayed so much when they picked them up in Orlando, Florida. And I noticed this train goes from Tampa to Chicago, and it's like 20 hours worth of a trip. So it was a debacle. And so I look at this now, like, thank God my kid had his phone during transportation. I was able to text him, I called him once to make sure he was all right. And, but then what bothered me a little bit was a little later. For some reason, we open up a TikTok on one of the phones, and there's a TikTok from one of the kids saying about how there's an ambulance there and they're taking people to the hospital for passing out. And I'm like, well, hey, hold on. This isn't on any official communication from the organization my children or my kid is with,
Right.
So it's like, like you really want to afford these people trust.
Right.
But
it makes sense.
It's nothing. And compared to what's gone on in Texas. So, but something like that could turn into that. You know, and I even thought about it while they're at this summer camp without their devices. What if something happened? Now your kids are stranded, could be somewhere else without their device to call for help, without being able to track them, you know, and you are trusting other adults with your kids. I don't trust many people with my children, you know, and, Amtrak, I believe, failed the people that day. They should have had charter buses there a whole lot sooner. That's how the kids ended up getting home. And a lot of the other passengers on that train was charter buses. And thank God for that. And thank God for that local town that sent the fire department and the police over there. So nobody in their group were hurt. I mean, a couple of the kids were a little upset, but for the most part, everybody was okay. Thank God. Thank God.
Yeah,
I wasn't one of those parents feeling like they're feeling right now in Texas, you know. Like Vince, you brought it up. I have one of the articles here on not this guy.
Hey, yeah, good morning, everyone. So I'll kind of give you guys a quick synopsis of what was going on.
This is a rescue swimmer, but we'll get right back to him. But on IRC Media, I shared the article from Fox News. Texas flooding kills more than 80 as search continues for dozens of people. And the number's gone up. And this was the other day, but I know, what was it, Vince, that it was almost 30 girls from the Christian camp.
Yeah, and
this says 28, including 28 children. The number of dead from the devastating floods across central Texas surpassed 100 as dozens of people remain missing. In Kerr County, at least 84 people died, including 28 children.
Wow.
And that's pretty freaking sad, man. You send your kids to camp, you know, and you're
imagine getting that phone call.
Man, I don't know what all this crap is on there, but
I don't want to get the phone call.
You know, I've read so many stories. I don't want to go through that again on air because I kind of felt so touched with. I've got 2 little girls and a son, and son's the oldest, but still, you hear stories about these little girls getting swept away, their camp counselors getting swept away, trying to save them, and one pair of girls were found holding hands. It's just horrible, you know. And then, of course, politics come into it.
Yeah,
you know, where they tried blaming Trump or Doge cuts that took away positions at the weather monitoring system, which was all debunked already, you know. And here's the sad part about it. There were warnings out 12 hours early. It got really serious. Nobody knew how serious it was gonna be until like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And like this rescue swimmer, we're gonna play his video. He wasn't dispatched there until like 6 in the morning. So if you can think, this is in like middle of the night. Imagine total, complete, dark chaos overcoming your entire world in a matter of moments, because it didn't just like
not even
creep. This didn't creep up. I saw videos like walls of water coming.
These people
down.
that they didn't even see it coming.
And it's very
like
weird
said,
because there was no dam. There was no dam that broke.
Yeah, middle of the night, most people sleeping.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Here is the rescue swimmer. I can't see it.
Launched us and decided to send a rescue crew from Air Station Corpus Christi at about 6:30. Hey, yeah, good morning, everyone. So I'll kind of give you guys a quick synopsis of what was going on. The Coast Guard launched us and decided to send a rescue crew from Air Station Corpus Christi at about 6:30, 7 a.m. on Friday, the 4th of July. I just happened to be on the duty crew with Ian Hopper, Blair Rougefort, Seth Reeves, some of our crew members in the Coast Guard. And they sent us out. We kind of encountered some pretty serious weather, some of the worst flying we've ever dealt with personally. It took us, which should have been an hour flight, probably took us about 7 or 8 just to get into the landing zone. Once made about 4 different approaches trying to get in, we were able to get boots on the ground with the Air National Guard, Department of Public Safety for Texas, game wardens. And we decided to leave me on scene at Camp Mystic. That was kind of our main triage site we were trying to help out with. And we decided, hey, if we leave the rescue swimmer on scene, we'll have more space in our Dolphin MH65. So based on that, I got on scene, boots on the ground at Camp Mystic. Kind of discovered I was the only person there as far as like first responders go. So yeah, I had about 200 kids mostly, all scared, terrified, cold, having probably the worst day of their life, and I just kind of need to triage them, get them to a higher level of care, and get them off the flood zone with a lot of the US 60 Army helicopters.
Talk about how that works. You got 165, close to 200 kids there. How do you get them out? Just one by one?
Yeah, sir, it's a great question. So the United States Army National Guard was landing their 60s with Task Force 1, some of their rescue swimmers, and they were able to land. We kind of came up with 2 different landing zones. There was one off an archery field and then one at a soccer field. So yeah, we were able to kind of land those 60s in there.
It's crazy.
And then I was kind of the main guy as far as like grabbing people, usually like 15 to 10 kids at a time, maybe one adult with them, and bringing them over to those 60s and getting them to a different LZ that was kind of safe and had more first responders than just myself out there.
Had you ever done this before?
No, this is my first one. I haven't had any cases before. I've been a rescue swimmer for about a year, fully trained for about 6 months. So yeah, this is my first experience, but I really just kind of relied on the training we get. Coast Guard rescue swimmers get some of the highest level training in the world. So really just kind of relied on that, and that, just knowing that any of the rescue swimmers in the Coast Guard would have done the exact same, if not better than me. So discovered that, when I got on scene, there was, 200 kids looking to someone for some sort of comfort and safety. They don't really know what my experience is or my rank or my age. They just know, hey, this guy's a professional and he's here to help us, and I kind of had to live up to that standard. But yeah, the real heroes, I think, were the kids on the ground. Like, those guys are heroic, and they were dealing with some of the worst times of their lives, and they were staying strong, and that helped inspire me to kind of get in there and help them out.
I'm going to read this. In Hill County, many areas recorded 5 to 11 inches of rain in just a few hours. Near Streeter, northwest of Austin, a staggering 20 inches were reported in that same event window. Early on July 4th, a gauge in Hunt showed 6.5 inches in 3 hours, causing the Guadalupe River to surge over 22 feet in under 2 hours. And they say this is a river that you usually look down on, like about 5 to 6 feet. And for this to surge 22 feet, that's freaking amazing, man. I mean, like, this area couldn't handle, let's say this was a real river in our area. Mm-hmm. 22 feet.
It's a lot of water.
Yeah, that's a lot of water. And
22 feet, most of Florida is probably underwater.
In Hunt, combining the branches of the Guadalupe River, the river rose nearly 29 feet. In downstream Kerrville, levels climbed more than 21 feet. I was trying to find, I heard some statistics about over 1 billion gallons of water fell in just a couple hours in this whole area of this main river. And it's more than what flows over. It was compared to the Niagara Falls. It dwarfed what goes over the side of Niagara Falls every day. Troll. Oh, excuse me. Coca-Cola. Yeah, I'm pissed too. Troll says, I'm pissed because the people in charge, Greg Abbott, Ted Cruz, etc., all just calling for prayers, and this is an act of God. But there was a huge flood in the same place in 87, but the Texas government allowed them to build a kids camp there. Sad and deflecting from any accountability, in my opinion. Yeah, there definitely needs to be some kind of accountability. And why? Why would they build it there? I mean, I got to thinking, a lot of kids camps, there are by the river. Like, I thought of all the ones my kids have gone to. All the ones I've gone to, they're either by the lake or by the river. And I don't know. Like, I would look at it different now, I think. I think I would research the next camp a little different. God forbid, a freak of nature. Like, you can't help it. Yeah. And you can say, like you said, an act of God. It was God's doing. You can't, God doesn't take away the pain, but at least you can't face it alone. And you see a lot of inspiring stuff in this kind of time, but it's also like, fuck you, man. Like, these are kids, man. Yeah. Like, you sent your kids away and, never see them again.
Very sad.
It's horrible, and maybe some type of risk management should have been done. The camp was just signed off on like 2 days before, I believe, and that's pretty shitty to think about that. Like it could be really bad. We played the swimmer, right? Yeah, we played Megan. Trump shut it down. Yeah.
Now that we've seen some floods also in New Mexico now. We were watching a video just before we got on here. I was watching a house just flow down what was, I think, a street. So they're having some pretty bad flash flooding in New Mexico right now, too.
If you look on Zillow at the camp's address, you can see it was built in the middle of a flood zone. I feel bad for the kids and families, but the government should call for an investigation, in my opinion. I agree. Who do you trust in any investigations anymore, though? You know, speaking of investigation, good segue. Not to chuckle, because that's a horrible situation, man. But you can't ignore it. I can't read any more stories about it. I feel traumatized. I hate to sound like some freaking snowflake, but just putting myself in those children's places or those parents' places, and it's just like heart hurts as a dad of young girls. You know, of a young son that likes to do these kinds of things. It's just, it's freaking horrible. In most camps they're by the river, they're by the lake. I mean, they're never prime real estate, but still, with weather warnings already out, and I think there should have been a better way, man. Like, I mean, there's no way of knowing that much water would have fallen there like that.
But they were already given a warning, so you would think, but how often they get those warnings?
Right.
They
at a camp where you're going to disconnect from devices, and you live off the land. I remember doing these things,
So another thing, is this the first time it's happened here recently?
Well,
the flood,
80,
Troll says it happened back
was it?
in 87, I think
87.
it was. Yeah.
Okay, so think about it. It's just like how Florida just went through these tornadoes. Like, we could get messages and we could get all this stuff about tornadoes, and then here in Florida, we could just be like, come on, we never had tornadoes here. We're hearing these warnings. I'm not saying they didn't do this. I'm not saying
it's been nearly 40 years.
Sometimes
there was funding that was denied by their legislation for an early warning system when it comes to flash flooding, because it was looked at as a waste of money because it wasn't going to be anything different than what they already had.
Right.
They couldn't get any more advanced than the warning system they already had. So I get it. But Texas is so freaking huge.
Yeah.
Maybe not have the cabins anywhere near. Maybe there should be a rule of thumb. But then again, could have been happening in the Carolinas where my son was. Just last year, what did we see? Major landslides, major rainfall caused rivers to swell up to levels that never swelled up before.
Right.
Caused land, what are they called? Mudslides, flash flooding. They're still trying to rebuild parts of western North Carolina. And
where I was at in Tennessee, I saw a lot of what they're still rebuilding there.
Yeah, it's horrible to think. You just send your kids away to be kids.
And it's going to be years from now. Years at least.
Scary.
Yeah. So you can't stop them from being kids either. You don't want to deprive them.
Right.
So back to IRC Media. Where happened to our screen share? IRC Media on X. It's at Indian River Connections. You can find some of the news stories. We just reshare them. And we kind of combine our media together. So make sure you give it a like and a follow if you're not already. Make sure you follow us on Rumble, all the good places. We're on Facebook too. I thought I had a Facebook open. Congrats. I earned a top fan badge for Filthy's. So that reminds me. So tomorrow night at Filthy's Cocktail. Hold on, let's see what it is. Get out of here, would you? Filthy's Fine Cocktails and Beer. John Carapi from TGI Now podcast is having a little get together to kind of see if we can put together some kind of event, maybe once a month, along the lines of conspiracies.
And this place is going to be go up a little bit, Mike. This place is going to be. I'll give you an address so that you guys can go.
It's in Vero Beach.
Yep, it's
Is it up there?
1238 16th Street in Vero Beach, Florida.
Yep, and you can find their Facebook page here. There's no event created. This is just kind of like a feel it out kind of deal.
Right.
Let me see if I can find.
As of right now, it's just a feel of how it's going to be. I won't be there, but I wish I was because I'm all into this stuff. I'm actually heading out of town tomorrow night, Friday morning. But this is my.
Oh, put on your diaper and come on out. It's at 6:00 at Filthy's. It's called the Conspiracy Club.
That's like down my alley too.
Yep, Conspiracy Club 101. Got questions? It's going to be Thursday, July 10th, 6 p.m. Filthy's Fine Cocktails in Vero Beach. Are you curious about the hidden truths behind the vaccines, endless wars, elite establishments, flat Earth theories?
Hey,
Nasara, I don't even know what that is. The depopulation agenda, chemtrails, and the satanic agenda, and the Q operation. It's still there. Join us for an eye-opening discussion where no question is off limits. We'll dive deep into these topics and more, exploring the narratives that shape our world. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer or just someone with questions, this is your chance to engage, learn, and connect with like-minded individuals. We might do a live. I don't know. They might do a live from there. The plan is I'll be there, but you never know what happens. So yeah,
that's what the conspiracy is. All
that's
about.
going to be in Vero Beach for you people that are local or nearby. John would like to turn this into something bigger and have some people, some guest speakers come. Definitely stream it. I'm thinking it should be like a monthly stream.
Yeah, for sure. At least.
And just spark some conversation. Get people like Nate Swaggart there. The owner of Filthy's is like, he's like an encyclopedia when it comes to this stuff. So I can't think of his name all of a sudden.
Nick.
Nick what?
Shit.
I can't think of his name. Anyways, he's the owner of Filthy's Fine Cocktail. And yeah, I'm horrible at this. Filthy's Fine Cocktails of Vero Beach. He has a lot of live entertainment. He got a lot of stuff going on. Definitely check it out. If not, stay close. We might do something from there. I don't know. But anyways, other than that, Leo, where can they follow you at?
They can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or they can follow us on Indian River Connections, where you could go on there and follow all our platforms. It gives you all the information where you can find this podcast, other podcasts, other people that are like-minded, just like us. So don't
or
forget,
not. We're expanding a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Some of it we don't really. Some of the content won't be
we allowed everybody to use our showrooms and stuff like that. So if you got something that you want to share or you want to put out there, hey, hit one of us up. A lot of the information is online, so just please make sure to go on there, take a look at it, give it a like, give it a share. Let us know if we need to improve on anything. We love to improve. So it's there, guys. Use it.
Vince, you got anything I'll throw out there?
No, you can check out my YouTube channel at River Ranch Riders on YouTube.
And we link to that on our website also.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're working on some branding for Vince, and we got to get some voiceover stuff for him. But I'm into those videos of just the sped up trail ride.
Yeah, we got to make time lapse.
We got to make some more of that content when it dries up a little bit. I was all eager to go riding today too because it was my day off, but
it's pretty flooded out there.
Way too wet. We didn't play our ad. We usually play for Warrior Shield. I'll play it on our way out, but don't forget to check out warriorshield.org. There's Warrior Weekend coming up in September. It's the 5th, 6th, and 7th, I believe. The 5th is the Hero Fest concert. Make sure you follow Warrior Shield Foundation. Follow Chance Salwell. He's the chairman, I believe, of that. There's a couple of guys involved, but you can follow Two Guys in One Coop. Also, they promote the hell out of this, and it's coming up in September. If you're a first responder or veteran, you can get into the concert for free, and there's like 5 big names going to be there. Bo Bice, Ryan Weaver. There's a couple chicks. I don't know. It's cool, but I'll be there. Hopefully some of the guys will come along at least to do a podcast, possibly see the concert. But check them out. I'll play it on the way out. You guys are done. R&R, good name. Yeah, River Ranch Riders. Yeah. Hopefully we
Triple R.
Yeah. All right. Peace out, y'all.
Hey, we're out. See you guys next.
Warrior Shield Foundation is here to unite, honor, and provide support for veterans, first responders, and Gold Star family members. The foundation will enable them to find the help they need through direct assistance or by connecting them with our shared vision network. Using data-driven models, we provide solutions that make a long-lasting difference. We, along with our partners, are dedicated to bringing together like-minded groups and individuals who have committed to making a difference in the lives of our hardworking, everyday heroes. We bridge the gap by connecting warriors or their families with the assistance they deserve and require, such as service dogs, wheelchairs, counseling, scholarships, and team building retreats, to name a few. You can help right now to make a difference for those who have helped and protected us all. Warrior Shield Foundation, selflessly doing for those who need it most.
It's a long way to home, but you won't take the hard road all alone. Just look to your left and look to your right. You were born to fight.
Shit. Peace out, y'all.
Say the break to shout, make America great, tell them what it's about. Facts over feelings, cutting through the noise, fighting woke mobs and the kids with toys. They spew their lies, they spreading hate. Let's BS ain't gonna seal our fate. No nonsense here, just straight to the point. Truce to ammo in this battleground joint. Make America great again, stand and fight. Facts over feelings, day and night. Fight the woke mob, cancel that crying. Truth on the mic while they keep lying. They wanna cancel, they wanna control, but we got the truth, we breaking the mold. Speak your mind, don't let them bind. Words cut through, sharper than a sword of kind. Senses just raw, no filter to stop. Voices rise up from the bottom to top.